Okay, we've been sent a case for a broken tooth number 8. As you can see here, it is broken down to the gum line, deemed non-restorable. The note is, please evaluate my plan for immediate implant number 8. Want to verify that the bone graft is placed in the socket prior to placing the implant. And let me answer that. That'll be dependent on the implant system that you're using. But typically what I'm doing these days is we take out the tooth, do our osteotomy, go ahead and fill the socket with our graft material mixed with PRF, and then I will take the osteotomy burr itself again, and then I will go ahead and hand place it back into the osteotomy to make sure that it goes back to depth, meaning that I've gotten the bone particles out of that area. And then since we're using an aggressive active style implant, the Nobel Active, I know that it will expand and condense and move. Self-tapping, self-threading implant will move any minor bone particulate out of the way. Alternatively, if you're using a more passive implant, I would suggest place the implant first and then place your graft material afterwards. This would be a digital workflow guide. We have plenty of teeth, 5, 6, 7, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, all usable for the guide. I would ideally like my guide to extend from this area to this area. If using a DigiGuide or OptiGuide, or at least this long if using a Cerec guide for stability. So let's take a look at our plan. This implant has been pre-planned. As we can see, we have our implant there, our virtual wax up. So one of the things I want to evaluate here is there is our broken tooth. So one of the things that I want to look at is if this is right here is our broken tooth line. What we do know is that by the time we take this tooth out, we're going to expect about 1 millimeter of bone and tissue loss. So I would want my margin drawn about right there. So again, if we place that restoration back on there, we can see that has looks like that has been accommodated for. And then the other thing that I want to take a quick look at here is go ahead and slice it. And I like to see that our plan is pretty well done. It matches pretty closely with the adjacent tooth. If anything, it's not quite as lingual as the adjacent tooth is right here. Actually looks pretty good. And then the only other comment would be that maybe the lingual fossa can be a little bit thicker like it is on number 9, but that depends on what the lower opposing tooth is doing. And the only other thought I have here is that screw retained with the implant position as it is may have it coming through the incisal edge, through the extension a little bit there. So we want to take a look at if anything can be done for that. As far as the plan itself, I've duplicated the plan and we've taken a look here. My first thought is, are we 2 millimeters in? And then three and a half millimeters or so down. And what we can see here is that about there. So maybe this implant needs to be moved more coronal. And now in this position, we do have plenty of space to develop a nice reverse edge profile here. So that looks very nice there. The only other thing I look at here, not the only other thing, but one of the other things we're looking at here is our incisal edges level. And right here, what I can see is, let me use a drawing tool. If I look at that, we can look at that's pretty level there. So this is actually well placed, well planned. Everything looks great. If anything, I would just maybe go just a hair lingual, and that might help me with my screw retained access. And then that's pretty much it here. Based on that, the next question is immediate placement possible? And a lot of that is going to be determined on the implant, and this looks like it's an implant 2, implant legacy 2, implant direct. Let's take a look at where our tooth is. So here is our tooth, just like so. So right now my initial assessment is we don't have a lot inside of the bone. So we can see that we have approximately 3 millimeters of apical extension, which is the bare minimum. We're not going to get a lot of mesiodistal engagement because, as we can see right here, right there, there's our mesiodistal extent of the tooth. So maybe a little bit right here, but about a little bit right here as well. So these are the things to take in mind. So it's critical that we get this tooth out, keeping the buccal plate intact, and then we look at the potential of undersizing osteotomy. I probably, based on my comfort level, I would probably not be placing an immediate provisional on this particular case, simply because it looks like the implant will only be held in by these 3 millimeters. So that's not enough stability in my eyes, or enough implant in bone to take that type of risk. So the next question is can we go longer? And that incisive foramen may present a little bit of an issue, but it looks like we can go to a 13 millimeter implant here. And now I'm getting a little more comfortable with immediate placement in this particular situation. So personally, I would probably go to a 13 millimeter implant, and then that gives me a better chance of creating ideal stability here. And personally, I would also go to the 4.2 millimeter implant, and the reason is that provides a platform shift built in because it uses the 3.7, 3.5 abutment, so it gives you some platform switch, and then that would help us maintain bone and soft tissue. So hopefully you found this helpful, and I look forward to future cases.